Hi everyone. So we have Khushi with us, who secured an All India rank of 46 in Clat and All India rank 10 in AILET 2024, making all of us proud. So Khushi, how did you feel when you first saw your rank?
I was literally quite stunned for a minute. My parents were sitting beside me, but they didn't know that the results were out. So, I just took those 2 to 3 minutes just taking it all in, just understanding the depth of the rank. And then, since they have been my support system from day one, so I was like, okay, I'll tell them first. And I told them, and they were overjoyed. And looking at them, so happy and so proud. I was just feeling overwhelmed. I was like, great. And then it actually took me 10 to 15 minutes to just get it in my system that I got my dream college as well. So, yeah.
And ये जो happiness है, ये खुशी है, it must have been double, tripled when you actually came to know about your AILET result as well. फिर.
Yeah, before AILET, I think the some hours after CLAT, we got the state ranks as well. And
Hmm.
since the state rank was a 2, I was quite joyed. And at that moment, the joy doubled. And then when the AILET results were out, it tripled. And then I was like, okay, so both have been done because I was quite scared for AILET since it's considered the harder one compared
अच्छा
to
कौन
CLAT.
सी what what happiness is more like securing all India rank 46 in Clat or West Bengal का state rank 2?
So, I was aiming for an All India rank. West Bengal rank was not in my bucket list as well.
Ah.
So, for the All India rank, I was expecting a good rank, not such a good rank, but a good one. But I was not at all expecting the state rank. So, I guess I'll say the state rank because I hadn't even thought about it, to be honest, that okay, there's something called a state rank as well. That was just not in my mind.
All right.
Yeah.
Although we know already, but still I would like to hear it from you because the students would like to know it. Bangalore or Delhi and why?
It's Bangalore, obviously. That goes without saying. Because overall, the city Bangalore as well as the college, NLS, it's just a dream. It's something not everyone can get, and it's something every law as a student aspires to achieve. So I guess your NLSIU will give me better opportunities since it has maintained that track record over the years, and its faculty, its structure, it's just amazing, and it's what every just law student wants to, just study there and yeah.
Okay. So Kushi, during your entire course of preparation, which section was the one which you got stuck with? I mean, आपको सबसे ज्यादा weak करने वाला या weakest section कौन सा था आपका?
Obviously GK, it's like कोई भी क्लैट एस्पिरेंट से पूछ लो, आधे लोग का तो जीके ही होता है टॉप पे. My actually GK was genuinely my weakest section because compared to other students, everyone prepares GK notes and they all have those big copies, those bundles. But I was not in the habit of note making, and so when I was told that Khushi should start making notes and that's how you'll be prepared for your exam. I was like, okay,
Revision is the
now
key.
yeah, but I was like, okay, but I'm not in the habit of making notes. And by that time, 6 months had already gone. So I had only a few months left before the exam. And one thing which had been in my mind was just not to panic before the exam. So I was like, okay, now if I start making notes, I'm never gonna end it. But what I did do was, it's not that I didn't prepare for GK. I did, but I prepared it online. I didn't prepare it by writing it or maintaining those thick copies because I knew that at the end of the day I can't carry 5 notebooks to the exam center and just be like, okay, where's this topic, where's this topic. Rather, it's better for me, it's convenient for me to have it all in one space. So I had my laptop, I had my notes on that, and I just prepared from them. I didn't listen to others, just because when someone tells you that you cannot do this without doing that, I take it as a challenge. It's something which you know um affects me for a bit. It makes me think about it whether I'm doing it wrong, but I know that at the end of the day, that if I lose my confidence, I will not be able to do it. So yeah, I had faith in myself. And then I was stuck there for a minute, but then I was like, it's okay if I can do it from one space, it's better for me. And so from dedicating like 30 minutes a day to GK in the beginning to dedicating 4 hours to it, it was a long journey to say
That
that.
we know, we have the proof, because initially in the mocks you used to score very low in the GK section, and
Yeah,
finally at the end after GK ka scores improved like anything. But
yeah,
there is a catch. On the actual day of Clat,
yeah,
GK really did not make a huge difference because of the change in pattern, because most of the answers were there in the GK passages
yeah.
itself. अब मुझे ये बताओ, उस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे यू मस्ट हैव फेल्ट वेरी हैप्पी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, दो यू इम्प्रूव्ड योर जीके और नॉट, लेकिन ऑलरेडी आपको खुशी बहुत हुई होगी, खुशी को खुशी हुई होगी कि जीके ऐसा आ गया इस बार, राइट? तो बट डिड यू चेंज एनी स्ट्रैटेजी दैट टाइम कि अब जीके तो सभी का होगा, अच्छा होगा, क्योंकि काफी इजी था जीके इस
Yeah.
बार. सो व्हाट स्ट्रैटेजी डिड यू मेक देयर?
So first, like in my set, Chandrayaan was the first passage. So I was like, okay, this is what I was expecting. Like Chandrayaan, G20, all those were common things which every student was expecting. I was like, okay, it's fine. Let's just go through it. Then I completed that passage. And then so on, when I was looking through the paper, I realized that most of the answers are in the passages. And then I was like, okay, now it's actually easy for everyone. But what I remembered was that if it's the Clat exam day is the make it or break it. If I lose my cool, if I panic, if I change my strategy all of a sudden just because one section is not what I had expected it to be, I will not, succeed in that paper. I will not get what I want. So I was like, it's okay. If the GK section is comparatively easier, they must have done something to balance it because they won't be giving all the sections as easy as it is. And since GK was my second section in order of attempts, I was like, it's okay. Let's slowly move on to the other sections and let's see what's ahead. Because if I panic right now and if I change my strategy, which I had been practicing with since the past, like what years, 2 years, it will just not end up well for me. So I kept my cool. I realized that okay, some people might be severely affected by this, but I cannot let myself be affected by the GK attack.
Right. And what was your strongest section?
So surprisingly, it is maths, like the quantitative aptitudes. I don't hear many students saying that math is the strongest, but
So you already had an edge over other students.
yeah, yeah. So I didn't realize that it was like quite a good benefit to have because I've seen that students are scared of the math section, but I've always liked maths, and so for me, those 10 to 12 marks were always like I have to secure them because it is what will give me a benefit over the others. And
Right.
so yeah, if but math carried little weightage compared to the rest. So I'll go with English because even the passages were comparatively easy and like it were easy to comprehend. And English I have been reading since I was a child, so it gave me an advantage. So yeah, so it goes like math or English.
Acha, what was your order of attempt on the Clat day?
I had changed my strategy so many times in the last like 4 months before
Few
the
marks.
exams. Yeah, that I was like, okay, I have to finalize on one. And so I decided that I'll do English, followed by GK, followed by legal, then CR, and then math. Because since math was my strongest, I was like, okay, I'll keep it in the end because I can do it if I panic. And then like if it's in the end, it's like okay, I just have to complete this and my paper is over, and I'll end it on a good note. So in that way, put the toughest
It
section
went
in
on a good
the
note. Huh?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. चलो, great. Khushi, I would like to hear it from you. Like you appeared for so many mocks, and initially आपके mocks में कुछ sections ऐसे थे जिसमें scores इतना अच्छा नहीं आ रहा था. Then you covered up like anything. So मैं आपसे ही सुनना चाहूँगा so that you motivate the students. How should you appear for mocks? How should you analyze it? How do you work on your weak areas? How do you capitalize on the strong areas? ये पूरी strategy एक बार students के लिए communicate करें please.
So like when someone gives the mocks, like when they just start giving the mocks, they don't score well. Okay, and
हाँ,
that
तो अपने initial scores
demotivates them.
बताओ जो आपने ClatPrep के mocks दिए थे,
My
initially क्या score आते थे?
My first score with the ClatPrep mocks, I think it was around 55 to 60, something around that. And I was so disheartened. I was like, is this how it's going to be? Because like I had started the mocks early, but still I was like, okay, I just have to, buck up and I have to get a good score. So at that time, many students are actually scared of the exam. They develop some sort of fear and they are like, okay, if this is my first mock score, I'm never going to crack it. But I feel that that's not the case. If it's your first mock, obviously you won't score well and you won't get get a rank in that mock and everything. That's not going to happen. That will never happen. Those who get that ranks, it's it's something not to get demotivated from, right? So gradually you have to analyze your mocks. You have to first start giving them. You can't be scared of the mocks that okay, today's mock day, I will not go. That's not how it works. You have to give the mock. It's something every good aspirant has to do. So you first start giving the mocks. You give the initial mocks, then you analyze them. Now analyzing your mocks is quite important, because if you don't analyze them, you will just keep on doing the same mistakes again and again. Like for example, in the legal section, there was this one principle that acceptance and communication in contracts. Now I never understood that section, and I always, whenever I attempted that passage, I always got it wrong. Then I realized, and I took a minute. I was like, okay, let me just understand this clearly. Then I understood the principles, and then I gave the mock again. Like when I attempted those same questions, like not the same questions, but like same principles, questions based on the same principles. Then I realized, oh, this is what was missing. Like if I had only understood these principles in a better way before, I would have scored much higher in those questions.
Right.
So obviously, analyzing is like the key to the key in your preparation strategy. So that's always there. And like it's better to just have a calm mind during the mocks and not think about the rest. Like many students, what they do is they think about their friends or their classmates scoring higher than them, and like they are somewhat demotivated by that. So what I feel is that you should just concentrate on yourself. Don't think about your competitors at this point of time. You do not know what happens on D-Day, because many people who scored like in their 80s or 90s during their mocks, they end up scoring low in the exams because they something happens. They panic, or they if they get one question wrong, they lose their calm. That's what happens. That's the reality. And those who were consistent in their preparations, they score better. And that's what I feel is the key. You have to just be consistent throughout your mocks. You can't avoid them. You can't be scared of them. Just give them. Be prepared. Be prepared for anything which the consortium might test you on. There's no definite syllabus. You just have to practice, be consistent, and just understand your mistakes so that you don't commit the same mistakes in the exam paper. That's what I feel should be your ideal way to tackle the CLAT exam.
Right, very well said. So you started with ClatPrep mocks and you secured the first in on your first mock, you actually scored 55, right? Odd 55
Yeah,
marks somewhere.
something around 55 to 60.
something
Yeah.
around 55. But then by the end, आपके क्या score आने लगे थे?
By the end, I was scoring above 95, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
obviously. And you were almost every time in the top 15 student, जितना मुझे ध्यान है, आप कई बार top 10 में भी आए हो और फिर top 15 में रहने लगे थे आप consistently in fact.
Yeah.
So students, समझो, one bad mock, 5 bad mocks does not define your fate. You have to keep on practicing the mocks. You have to do the right kind of analysis. Then only you can have a journey like Khushi, who started with 55 का score से AIR 46 in Clat. है ना? अच्छा, AILET का भी experience share करो अपना. फिर AILET के दिन आपने how did you start with? Because AILET भी this time was different from the last year. Like English passages, then followed by GK, and then at the end you have logical reasoning questions. जो एक साथ थे 70 questions, wherein small arguments based questions ज्यादा थे इस बार, unlike the previous year. So बताइए क्या किया आपने AILET के दिन?
AILET का तो the thing was कि AILET, the National Law University of Delhi, they released the test paper pattern actually a week before the exam. which many students didn't know about. Like when you were, if anyone was browsing through the site in one go, they would realize that at the end of it, it's written that the paper consists of three sections: English, GK, logical, which is basically the previous paper pattern which they had before 2023, like 2022. Yeah, that's the paper they had.
Last year.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, understood. So that's where I gained an advantage, because apparently many people didn't know that the pattern had changed again to the previous one. And so for AILET, everyone knew that we would get all those syllogisms and everything. So that were there. But on top of it, the questions, the short questions, because many people don't prepare for AILET separately. They start their preparation along with the CLAT preparations. But AILET tests CR and analytical on small passages and short passages. But the trick to cracking them is that if one reads them carefully, with a cool and calm mind, you'll realize that it's actually easier, because you don't have to read much. You have to read like 2 to 3 sentences, and then you have 4 MCQs based on that. So that's comparatively easier. When you're preparing for CLAT, you read long passages and then you answer 5 MCQs. Here you're basically reading 2 to 3 lines and you're answering one question. Now, if you see the ratios, it's basically the same. The only thing is you have to read different contents. Now, that's something you should not be afraid of, which is where I feel many students go wrong. Everyone has told them that AILET is tougher, AILET is trickier, AILET is lengthier, and that way many students get demotivated and some don't even end up giving the exam, which I feel is not something you should do. You should not be scared of the exam. It's just an exam. Everyone who's attempting the exam will all like be on the same level as you are, like slightly up and down, but no one can be a genius and someone not on their level. So in that way, AILET is not as tough as they claim it to be. That's a myth. AILET can be cracked, and it's not something only top students can do. It's not nothing like that. You just have to have confidence in yourself, and you have to have faith in yourself. If these two things, if you just nurture them and if you just be consistent, I'm sure that everyone who studies properly and is committed to the exam, they can crack it, and it's not that hard as they claim it to be.
Great. Very well said. Very motivating. In fact, the students will have a great insight from you. Acha, Khushi, because you will appear for boards as well this year. So how did you maintain a balance between your boards preparation and the CLAT and AILET preparation?
So actually, I also had an advantage in that, since my school has 3 set of exams: the unit tests, the 80-mark paper, and then one 80-mark paper in December to Jan. So the first term examinations were held in September, and CLAT was in December. So I didn't want to completely keep aside my studies, my school exams. That's something many people do. They just don't take school exams seriously, which I feel is not the best thing to do. Like, yeah, you can focus it on less, but it's not something you should completely set aside, because you just have to manage and balance everything, because that's a good trait of a balanced person, and more importantly, a future lawyer. You should learn how to balance things. You can't just keep one thing aside for another thing. So for the school exams, I for the GK section, I was reading it every day for like an hour or two, and I was giving an hour to other sections, whereas I was preparing for the school exams in the morning. So I had divided my time, and though the proportion was inclined towards the school examinations and less towards the CLAT examinations, after the exams the roles got reversed. And so I could focus on CLAT, and I could dedicate a greater amount of time to CLAT compared to my school exam. And then it was just balanced throughout the way.
Great. Khushi, I would like you to give a message to all the students who would be aspiring for CLAT and AILET next year. So what message would you like to give to them?
I'll just like to tell you all that, firstly, please don't be afraid. If you hear your friends, your classmates telling you that this guy has scored 19 his first mock, or if this guy has been scoring 800 and so on, you should not be scared by that. Please focus on yourself. By focusing on others' marks and scores, it will not get you anywhere. Rather, you'll just panic every time you give a mock, or you'll be thinking about your competitor. That competitor phase does not last long. It should not last long enough, and you should be consistent in your studies, manage your school exams, but give a greater time to Clat. That's something I would recommend. But don't completely ignore one and focus on the other. And for other sections, GK can always be unpredictable. That's something everyone can tell you guys. So just focus on the newspapers. Just keep on reading them, because that will help you develop your reading skills for the English/CR section as well as the GK section. So the newspapers are actually a key to three major subject areas. And as for the mocks, give them slowly start giving them in greater numbers. Like you can start giving one weekly, and then as you go, you can start giving two maybe. And yeah, but don't forget to analyze them and understand where you go wrong. And if you ever have any question, if you're not clear on what the answer is, because for me, the solutions offered by ClatPrep were quite detailed and they were adequate enough for me to understand my mistakes. But in case it does not work out for you, if the explanations are not enough, do not hesitate to contact a teacher. The teachers are there for you. The teachers are there for your help and for your preparations. So don't be hesitant about that, and don't be scared of asking questions in public. If you're scared that, okay, if someone might judge me for asking such a silly question, that's their problem, not yours. You should focus on yourself. It's your exam, your marks. It's you who wants to go into an NLU. So don't think about what others might say or do. Focus on yourself, because ultimately you will be the one getting into your dream college, and not some classmate of yours who judges you or something like that.
Great. So that was truly inspirational and some motivating words from Khushi. And I believe that all the students will be taking the insights given by her, the recommendations, the suggestions, whatever she implemented in her, course. आप भी आप उसको implement करोगे, and you will also be another, rank holder next year. So thank you so much, Khushi, for being on
Thank
board
you.
with us. I would like to congratulate you, extend my heartiest congratulations for your ranks so achieved. And at the same time, I would like to, wish you all the best for all your future endeavors. Thank you so much, dear.
Thank you. I would also like to thank ClatPrep, because it was genuinely, it came in quite handy in my preparations, especially the All India mocks. So please don't miss out on them, because they are quite useful for you. And yeah, they'll obviously help you in your preparations.
Thank you so much.